Hello, and welcome to this mini training on volunteering in a mega shelter. You will be presented with helpful hints to prepare you for what it is like to work and be successful in a mega shelter operation. Let's go. Volunteering in a mega shelter. Mega shelters are not your typical Red Cross shelter. They are set up to house thousands of people displaced from their homes due to a disaster. They are often stood up in very large buildings such as convention centers or a sports arena. Mega shelters basically become small cities. Volunteering in a mega shelter. When you hear mega shelter, it's frequent for Red Crossers and our partners to feel a little anxious or shy or to stay away. Without knowing about or having experience in a mega shelter, they may think that a mega shelter is just too busy, or that they may not have the skills to work in one. Or they may just prefer to work or serve in a smaller shelter, one that is at a much slower pace, or to volunteer in another area entirely outside of sheltering. The goal with this presentation is to explain how to prepare you on what it takes to work in a mega shelter, and to help to provide some comfort with the hope that you will be more willing to serve in a mega shelter as a volunteer. What does a mega shelter include? On the right side of this slide, you can see the layout for both the dormitory floor and the recovery floor of a mega shelter that was in Hurricane Harvey in Houston. Besides providing food and dormitory to clients, mega shelters, with the acronym MS, which you will see throughout this presentation, can provide the following: a clinic/pharmacy/infirmary, a retail-like pop-up store, various recovery services from FEMA, to critical document replacement, to part-time or full-time job placement, pet dormitory, laundry service, cell phone charging or replacement, and many more. Volunteering in a mega shelter. First off, know and expect that working in a mega shelter can be a very fast-paced operation. At times, you will meet and deal with clients, one right after another. Your assignment may require you to walk to various faraway points within a mega shelter, often at a very fast pace. But also know that it is not always fast-paced. There are slow periods as well. Helpful hints before starting your work in a mega shelter. Always make sure that you get or receive a job induction prior to starting your work in a mega shelter. This may include an overview of sheltering operations that is conducted off-site and prior to you entering the mega shelter. It should also include a job and mega shelter induction that should acquaint you with the mega shelter and what specifically you will be performing, where, and when. Come prepared to last through a long day. Make sure to wear appropriate clothing, and especially to wear comfortable walking shoes. If there are personal essentials that you need, such as medicine, make sure that you bring enough to last throughout your shift. Also, watch what you bring that you may not be able to keep with you during your shift. There may not be a place available to secure it. In the initial days of a mega shelter, it will be common for the Red Cross to be in charge of sheltering operations. But in addition to the Red Cross, a local government agency, such as the Emergency Management Agency, may be the ultimate lead organization of the mega shelter. You may also find a local hospital organization managing health services or disaster mental health. The Salvation Army may be providing feeding, and a big box store providing free clothing and other personal necessities. When a mega shelter opens its doors, it may take several days for all organizations involved and the services provided to start working well together. In addition, the mega shelter may have 20 or more organizations providing recovery services to clients, which all will need their own equipment and space. Plus, the mega shelter management must find ways to handle and distribute all of the donations, such as clothing, shoes, and baby items, that local residents have donated. And the mega shelter management will have to find ways to handle and use the people that spontaneously volunteer to help out in the mega shelter. With so many organizations involved, some of which you may never have worked with before, it may take a few days to get familiar with each other and how to work in sync together. Get to know the facility and where important services such as bathrooms and showers, feeding, recovery services, the stairs and elevators, and other important items are. Know where the message boards are located that include client-specific info, actions, or events. Also get to know what volunteer organizations are performing what services, where, and when. It will be very common for clients to stop and ask you questions about the shelter or what services are being provided. This flowchart helps you get to know your mega shelter. I encourage you to hit pause on the YouTube video and walk through every step of this process flowchart. Maintaining situational awareness. When working in the mega shelter, try to maintain situational awareness. Watch for residents that appear to need help, then do your best to assist them. Mega shelters are often very large and moving around them may be difficult and tiring. If a resident is struggling to move around, either assist them or find someone who can. Maintain open and frequent communication with your supervisor. Also take time to talk to and learn from other volunteers, including those outside of the Red Cross. Residents when first arriving can be very emotional, but as their time in the shelter goes on, their sadness will be replaced by hope. Maintain your mental health. Working in a mega shelter can be very emotional. You may meet and talk with clients so deeply affected by a disaster, one right after another. Dealing with such clients in large numbers can easily wear on your mental state, and doing so hour after hour can have a major toll on you and your efforts to help others. To ensure that you are able to help others, you must take steps to maintain your mental health. Know your emotional limits and don't be afraid to act on them. Make sure that you take your breaks, including your meal breaks. Do your best to work your shift hours, then leave the mega shelter. It's easy to spend extra time when things are busy. If you feel that you've had enough or need a mental health break, ask your supervisor if you can step away for a while. Then do so. Know areas inside or outside of the mega shelter where you can get away. Learn to lean on your fellow Red Crossers, including disaster mental health personnel. Sharing your feelings is one way to cope with your emotions. And besides watching out for yourself, watch out for others. Other items. Be flexible and have lots of patience. Your work can come in waves. If you see issues, correct them if you are able, or advise your supervisor to handle them. Be able to multitask, and be ready to shift your role in order to help balance priorities when directed. Mega shelters will bring lots of media attention, so know the rules pertaining to and who is responsible for interacting with them. Stay in your lane is a term that you will hear, which means that you should perform only the duties that you have been assigned to. But don't be afraid to step up and help a coworker or even your supervisor if and when needed. If you feel the need to ask permission first, then do so. Know what Red Cross services are provided off-site, such as reunification, and how to use them, or whom or how to contact. Before you go, note that it is always important to get a job performance review before you leave your assignment. Since mega shelters can and are very busy shelters, make sure to let your supervisor know a minimum of 2 days in advance when you will be leaving, and request that they complete and conduct a job performance review with you prior to your departure. The following are job tools found on the Red Cross Exchange that can help prepare you for working in a mega shelter. Mega Shelter Planning Guide, Mega Shelter Job Tools, Disaster Responder Information Guide, Mass Care Toolkit, Operating a Shelter Checklist, Providing Great Customer Service, Sheltering Lead, Sheltering Scenarios/Injects. It takes many volunteers to make a mega shelter work. We hope that you could be a part of our next one and helping those so needing our help. Thank you for participating in this training. If you still have questions about what it takes to volunteer in a mega shelter, reach out to your supervisor or someone who has worked in a mega shelter from your chapter or region. Or you can send an email to megashelter@ redcross.org. Again, thank you for all that you do.